Running a small business means I wear lots of hats. When I put on my hiring hat, I can count on LinkedIn Hiring Pro to make it easy. LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps manage my hiring workflow, puts my job post in front of a unique network of professionals, and matches me with the best candidates for my business. I can also share my job with my network. No other job site lets me do that. No wonder most small businesses say they'd use LinkedIn Hiring Pro again. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
Pay's checkout is offered by your banks and credit unions. So when you shop online at participating merchants, your cards appear in one place. Pay's. It checks out. Activation required. See Pays.com to learn more. Terms and conditions apply.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat, emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month, even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending, 0 tears. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
The Daily Braw. This is anything but footy at the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games.
I'm Michael, and I'm in Glasgow.
And I'm John, and I'm about to get on a plane to get there.
This is the Daily Braw from Anything But Footy, a quick-fire daily roundup of the game's time news. Don't expect a deep dive. We're just going to tell you everything you need to know in 10 minutes every morning.
And the braw is apparently a Scottish slang word meaning good. So we hope you like it.
And these Commonwealth Games will be good. Over the next 12 days, we'll be discussing all things Glasgow 2026.
Yeah, from the biggest team, the biggest wins, the unlucky losers, and we'll have our usual news from the games as well.
And don't forget, you can hear live action every day on TalkSport. You can listen via their website. You can find them on DAB digital radio through your smart speaker. And you can also find them on 1089 and 1053 AM. Download and listen to all of their live commentaries via the TalkSport app.
This is Anything But Footy with the Daily Braw from the biggest sporting event in the UK this summer.
So, as I've said right at the start, I am here. I'm in Glasgow.
What's it like?
Yeah, it's good. Sun is shining. I think that's always important. Very British of us, of course, to begin by talking about the weather. But you'll remember when we were here in 2014, the sun shone brilliantly for the first week. And just having a walk around the city centre yesterday, all the bars, all the restaurants, they were all packed with people sat out. You've got all the big squares, of course, in Glasgow. It's a magnificent city. Lots of signage up for it, lots of restaurants, lots of bars. Have also got posters in their lounges and where you go in and sit and have your drinks and sit and eat as well. And lots of people are talking about it. So just sort of walking around yesterday. So I arrived here sort of yesterday lunchtime afternoon. I went and collected my accreditation pass. I went to see Team Scotland because they have their own Team Scotland house, which they officially opened yesterday with the First Minister. And as you're wandering around, people are chatting about it on the streets because there's quite a visual branding to it. I think that's important. And there's a sense from the few people I've spoken to in the sort of less than 24 hours I've been here, there's a sense that they're looking forward to it. They're looking forward to Commonwealth Games coming back to Glasgow. No one is really talking about the fact that it's a smaller event or a different kind of event. I don't think that's really sort of punched through. I think people just realise that there's a big city event happening here, and Glasgow hosts big events all the time, so they're used to stuff like this, whether that's the Climate Summit or the Games of 2014. And yeah, I think the live sites are getting ready to go, and I think the people, like you've always said, once the sport starts, once Scotland start winning a couple of medals, people will get into it.
We'll look at some of the numbers in a moment, but what's the colour like? You talk about there's lots of visualizations and lots of signing stuff. What are we talking about? Are we talking about pinks, or is it more kind of purpley? What's the main? Because I always love the colour palette that they choose for these games.
Yeah, you've got a lot of pinks and turquoises going on. So I bumped into my nephew yesterday who lives in Glasgow. And he said to me, "Are you going to be wearing one of those kind of groovy Glasgow 2026 tops?" Because he was getting the train into the city centre. And obviously lots of people are arriving, the workforce, the volunteers, of course, and they have to go and collect their uniform, and that's the vibrant pink and the turquoise and the trousers and the little rucksack and everything else that goes with it. He's quite disappointed that I won't be wearing that kind of get-up
I'm
over
glad
the
you're
next
not.
2 weeks. Yeah, I'm sort of glad I'm not as well. But there's lots of volunteers already in the city centre. Lots of people arriving. Heard lots of different accents as well yesterday, and met up with lots of people from different parts, not just of the UK, but from across the Commonwealth as well, who are all arriving to do their volunteering stint, to do their shifts, to take part in these games.
So yeah, looking at the numbers, Mike, you talk about the volunteers. There's 3,000 volunteers and 3,000 athletes. That's quite a good ratio, to be fair. 74 nations, 215 gold medal events. You mentioned the slightly smaller kind of layout of the games, all with an 8-mile radius, 4 main locations, and 10 sports, 6 which are para sports as well. But I wanted to talk to you about the teams, because you talked about some of the nations that maybe you've met already. England is by far the biggest team. I say by far, by one. England, 264 athletes. Australia, 263 athletes. And then host nation Team Scotland, 173. They're the 3 biggest contingents. But then you've got the likes of Canada, India, New Zealand, Wales, and South Africa, all with over 100 athletes. The smallest nation is Tuvalu of the Pacific island. 11,000 people live on that island, which is apparently the size of the city of Wells in Somerset. And they will have 8 athletes at Glasgow 2026 in boxing, weightlifting, and athletics. Looking at Team England, Michael, as we will, and Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland as well, by the way, have got 66 athletes. What are you looking forward to? You've talked about it's going to be a good games. What should we be looking out for across the 10 days?
I think the highlight of every multi-sport event is always the 2 biggies, if you like, which is the swimming and then the athletics. And I think there's 4 kind of big key sports here in Glasgow, which is the 2 that I've just mentioned. Add in the track cycling at the Sir Chris Hoy Velodrome and the boxing as well. But I'm also looking forward to seeing the netball competition, because of course netball is not an Olympic sport. So this is, as far as netball is concerned, equivalent pretty much to a World Championships, and also, innovations that they've got here. So we've got the return of 3x3 basketball, but they're going to be playing it inside. You knew how good the 3x3 basketball atmosphere was when we were in Birmingham 4 years ago. So I think inside, that's going to be a real wall, a cauldron of noise, because they're going to have DJs and music, and bowls moving indoor as well. So that's going to be an interesting one as well, because normally the bowls takes place outdoors on the Crown Green, but that's moving indoors. It's not 10-pin bowling. It's still going to be bowls. It's like indoor bowls that you used to watch on BBC Two growing up as a kid when the snooker wasn't on and you were off field.
But what I love about the fact that the bowls is on is that they've had so many entries, they've had to start the competition earlier, because the sport is starting on day 0, opening ceremony day. So tomorrow, in effect, if you're listening on Wednesday when we're recording. No Scots are in action, though. I thought was quite interesting. Maybe they're saving the Scots because they will want to go to the opening ceremony. But yeah, they're going to get underway. And actually, I think if you've got tickets for the bowls, you can turn up and just go on the first day without tickets for that day, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean that's a usual thing in the Olympics, where matches in football and rugby sevens and archery qualification always starts just before the opening ceremony. You'll remember back in London 2012, people turned up at Lord's to try and watch the archery qualification. They wouldn't let them in.
They were outraged that they couldn't get in.
It was outraged that they couldn't get in. In terms of some of the names, I think the name that everybody around here is talking about is Josh Kerr. Now, he broke the mile world record, as we know, and if you don't know, you can hear it all on our previous episode, which was a special from the Diamond League in London. He's here and he's targeted this event. I mean, he's always said that this is his season. It was to break that world record and then to come to Glasgow and win the gold medal. So he may still, he said on Saturday when we spoke to him, he may still get selected for the European Championships, the European Athletics Championships, although he didn't go to the British Championships for qualification. So he could still be given like a wild card or a spot by British Athletics, but that's never been the focus, the Europeans in Birmingham. The focus has always been on coming to Glasgow. And that's going to be one of the very last events. I think there's 11 finals that night, including this new Commonwealth Mile.
And what I love about this is there's a lot of talk about people dropping out. The big names aren't coming. Big sprinters are not coming from Jamaica. Obviously, we revealed that Dina Asher-Smith, unfortunately, is suffering from a niggle, so she can't be there at the games, even though she was only going to do the relay. Lots of talk about people who aren't coming. But actually, Josh Kerr at the moment is probably the biggest star in world athletics. And he has said this is the most important event of the summer. And he said that 6 months ago. He said it a year ago. And I know he said that he might go to the Europeans. But as you say, this is what his focus is. And the mile is back for the first time in the Commonwealth Games since 1966, when the Beatles were big. So a certain thing happened where someone won a World Cup, I think. But this is what the Commonwealth Mile is back. The men and women's race is on day 9 of these Commonwealth Games. It is the Saturday, the second Saturday of the Games, if you like, August the 1st. Josh Kerr for Scotland. I would say Jess Hull has a huge chance from an Australian point of view on day 9 of these Games. And you were talking about netball earlier. I think it's really interesting looking at the medals. I mentioned 215 gold medals. So in athletics, there's 43 gold medals that you can win, and 16 para. And that's the biggest sport, as you say. I think swimming is 42 and 14 para, and cycling is around the same number, maybe slightly less, about 20 odd. But netball is 1 gold medal. I mean, how tough is that? As an event, and this is the thing with team sports, isn't it? That actually, to get a medal, and there are 3 medals available, obviously gold, silver, and bronze, but that shows how tough it is. And we know that Team England, for example, didn't win a medal last time in Birmingham.
Yeah, and they might struggle again here. I think you're going to have to look at the Australians. You're going to have to look at Jamaica as well, who, as you know, have been training near to where I live. So they will have that Darlow advantage coming into these games.
Kiwis.
Darlington, and the Kiwis as well, obviously. So, yeah, it is. And we've drawn that parallel with hockey before, haven't we? Because, for so long, Team GB would send 2 hockey teams to the Olympics, and for a while, they've always come back with at least 1 medal, and that's kind of masked any kind of shortcomings that there might be potentially in hockey. That didn't happen, did it, at the last games? They both sort of came up a little bit short, and then suddenly it's all disastrous. But it's so hard. It's so hard because it is a team sport. But to reiterate what I said earlier, it's so important for the sport of netball because netball has its World Cup, and that has been hosted brilliantly in Liverpool in the past. But the Commonwealth Games is the opportunity internationally, I think, to get quite a lot of eyeballs and ears on the sport, which it ordinarily doesn't get. I think we're lucky at the minute in this country. We have a thriving Super League, and there's a lot of interest in the likes of London Pulse, for example, and other Super League clubs. But it certainly doesn't get the kind of level of attention that if you actually go and watch netball and see the excitement of the matches and the athleticism and the physicality and everything else, it doesn't get that level of coverage it should. The Commonwealth Games is an opportunity for that.
We will talk a lot about athletics. We're going to be there for Talk Sport, as Michael has said. Michael's going to be the athletics commentator for Talk Sport, and I'm going to be in the mix zone interviewing the athletes. So look, athletics will be a huge focus for us, but it actually doesn't start until Monday. So there's a few days starting on Friday where the sport starts. We know the bowls and the para bowls starts on Thursday, but Adam Peaty over the weekend could win his 5th Commonwealth Games gold medal. You've got Duncan Scott and Stephen Clegg from a Scottish point of view on day 1, hoping to start the games as they mean to continue. The men's team gymnastics without Max Whitlock, of course. Can they win their gold medal? They've won it 3 years or 3 times on the trot. So 2022, 2018, 2014. Michael can obviously remember 2018 a lot more than the rest of us. But this is what's really interesting about the Commonwealth Games. As Michael said, the atmosphere in Glasgow is building. And once the sport starts and the medals start being won, for example, on day 2, as Michael said, the netball starts, and the 3x3 basketball. England men are in action. They're defending their title. But you've also got the Aussie Olympic champions, Molly O'Callaghan and Cameron McEnvoy, both swimming in the pool. They are big events. And as I say, the Aussies top the medal table from Birmingham 2022. They've got the second biggest team, 250 odd athletes. Their aim, I read this as their mission statement, Michael, from the Aussies, is to finish on top of the medal table, winning the most gold medals, celebrating the most medalists, and securing the highest overall medal count as well. That is ambitious. That the Aussies are going for it.
Yeah, they've fired the starting pistol for Brisbane 2032 here. They, as we know, will invest hugely in their team and their staff ahead of hosting the Olympic Games in 2032. And what you didn't mention there, of course, which I think just before we wrap up is worth saying, first medals of Glasgow 2026 on the first morning is going to be para powerlifting. So we've talked often about the importance of integrating the para program into the Commonwealth Games. That kind of started in 2002 in Manchester and has grown and has grown and has grown. And this is the most integrated games ever. Although smaller games, we've got more medal opportunities in many sports in some of the para disciplines. So the first medal, for the very first time, is going to be a para medal. I think one of us will probably be there for it, which is para powerlifting. So, that medal rush will start very early. So we're day -1 as we record. Day 0 is opening ceremony night. I heard and saw a bit of the rehearsals at the Hydro. I'll let you into a secret. I think there'll be bagpipes and I think there'll be people in kilts. There you go. We know that Katie Tunstall is also going to be there as well. We're going to be hearing over the next day or two who the people are that are going to come in carrying the flags and the batons. And then the next day, the sport starts Friday morning and we'll have those para powerlifting medals for you mid-morning.
Final question. Your mission today, if you choose to accept it on day -1, apart from finding out who the flag bearers are, have you seen Finney yet, the mascot? And I need a photo, please.
A photo of me and Finney. You'll be lucky. I haven't seen a Finney yet. I was actually thinking that yesterday as I was having my wander around because 4 years ago I arrived in Birmingham a couple of days before the Commonwealth Games. And there were Perry mascots absolutely everywhere because I think they had like a Perry city centre trail. So Finney has been less in evidence so far at these games. And for me, that's a good thing.
Before I finish, let me tell you that Finney, of course, is named after the Finnieston Crane, which is on the banks of the Clyde, right next to the Hydro, a famous landmark in Glasgow. And actually, Finney is a unicorn. And Ailish McColgan told me this when I caught up with her about a year ago, when we had a year to go before the Games. And Ailish McColgan told me that the unicorn is actually the national animal of Scotland. And she said, her partner said to her, I think Michael Rimmer said to her, why is an imaginary animal your national animal of Scotland? And she said that she was very proud that it was. It kind of summed up Scotland for her, just this amazing, iconic animal. And she was incredibly proud that it was the national animal of Scotland.
Isn't a rhinoceros basically just a unicorn that's let itself go a bit?
Please don't say that to anyone in Scotland today. Just be careful. Just tread lightly. Tread lightly.
Well, from Glasgow, thank you very much. Remember, you can catch us once the games get underway every day on Talk Sport. We'll have updates throughout the day and then live commentary, live coverage every night from 7. You can always check out Anything But Footy on social media as well. You can find us online at anythingbutfooty.com. This is Anything But Footy. It's our brand new daily podcast.
This is Anything But Footy at the Glasgow 2026 Commonwealth Games.